Yeah, political resolution to separatism in Nigeria must tackle its root causes. The truth is incontrovertible. There is no military solution to separatist agitations. In Nigeria, separatism is, at its core, a political problem which can only be tackled through a political solution. This is why Abubakar Malami, Minister for Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, was right when he hinted recently that the federal government might consider a political solution to the problem of separatism in Nigeria. He did not, however, define what he meant by political solution, but it's undoubtedly clear that any political solution must address the root causes of separatist agitations in Nigeria, not just the symptoms. Sadly, some people view political solution mainly through the effects of separatism. They interpret it to mean merely the release of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, who is currently in detention, facing a trial. And Sunday Igboho, the Yoruba nation agitator who is being detained in Benin Republic and who the Nigerian government wants to extradite to the country to face trial. Since Malami's intervention, there have been calls for the release of the two separatist leaders, recently prominent Igbo leaders under a group called the highly respected Igbo Greats, led by Chief Mazulike Amechi. The only surviving First Republic minister went to Abuja to beg President Muhammadu Buhari to release Kanu. On the trail of the Igbo leaders' visit to Aso Rock, Yoruba leaders were under pressure to meet President Buhari and beg him to free Igboho also. For instance, one traditional leader urged monarchs, elders, and stakeholders in Yoruba land to visit the president and plead for Igbo's release, definitely Sunday Igboho release. But while these leaders are well-intentioned, they are wrong by begging President Buhari to free Kanu and Igboho. They condone his abuse of power and allow him to take the moral high ground, which is utterly undeserved. The truth is, Kanu and Sunday Igboho are political prisoners. Their offense or crime, which is advocating self-determination for their people, is protected under international law. The principle of non-extradition of political offenders is universally recognized. So is the right of self-determination. Therefore, the extraordinary rendition of Kanu from Kenya and the fatal brutalization of Igboho's households are condemnable acts of state violence. Thus, the government should release Kanu and Sunday Igboho without octogenarian and non-genarian elder statesmen having to kowtow before the president begging for their release. Previously, President Buhari said the Igbo leaders made an extremely difficult demand on him by asking him to release Kanu. According to Buhari, the demand would make him interfere in the work of the judiciary, which would run contrary to the doctrine of separation of powers. But that's utterly disingenuous. Why? Because the state is the prosecutor in both cases and can always terminate the proceedings. A few months ago, I was a juror in a criminal case in London. 3 days into the trial, the judge told us, the 12 members of the jury, that the prosecutor, that is the Crown Prosecution Service, a state agency, had decided to terminate the proceedings due to insufficiency of the evidence. Under the UK's Code for Crown Prosecutors and indeed under the Code for Prosecutors, in any truly democratic and civilized society, prosecutors must terminate proceedings in a case if there is not enough evidence against the defendant and or if it is not in the public interest to continue the prosecution. The proceedings now, the truth is that both conditions for termination of proceedings exist in the Kanu and Igboho cases. First, the charges leveled against them, such as linking Igboho with Boko Haram, are so frivolous and politically motivated that there can't be enough evidence against them. Second, it is not the public interest to continue the proceedings against them, not least because they are political offenders and their political crime, albeit involving isolated incidents of violence, pales into insignificance when compared with the murderous activities of Boko Haram, terrorists, and the bandits, who have just been declared as terrorists by a court. Yet, while Kanu and Igboho are in detention, leaders of the bandits and Fulani herdsmen militia are seemingly untouchable. So, on evidential and public interest grounds. The federal government have no basis for continuing the proceedings against Kanu and Igboho and should be freed and also be freed without the ugly spectacle of respect elder statesmen groveling before the president. But something really struck me about what Chief Amechi said during the Igbo leaders visit to President Buhari. The elder statesman, first Republic Minister of Aviation and the only surviving minister from that area, said that if Buhari released Kanu to him, Kanu would no longer say the things he had been saying, adding that he could control the IPOB leader. And that's really extraordinary. Was Chief Amechi saying that if Kanu was released from detention, he would definitely, as in Kanu was released from detention, he would no longer agitate. That is what it is. He would no longer agitate for an independent state of Biafra. That's the question. Well, it would be awfully strange if Kanu's release from detention leads to his Damascene conversion to a sudden and complete change in his beliefs. Surely the only commitment Kanu could give to Chief Amechi is that he would not advocate violence, but he won't promise to repudiate his beliefs and stop calling for a referendum on Biafran independence from Nigeria. Let's be clear, IPOB is not calling for automatic or unilateral secession. What they are calling for is a referendum to decide the matter. Most civilized countries, such as the United Kingdom and Canada, allow for such a referendum, and if a referendum is held in Nigeria, there is no guarantee that IPOB would win it. Indeed, there is this likelihood that most Igbo would vote to remain in Nigeria, just as most Quebecers voted to remain in Canada during the Quebec referendum in 1995, and most Scots voted to remain the United Kingdom during the Scottish independence referendum in 2014. But merely releasing Kanu from detention won't stop him from calling for an independence referendum to decide the future of the Igbo in Nigeria. Take the Spanish example. In June this year, the Spanish government pardoned and released from jail 9 Catalan separatists, who led a failed independence attempt in 2017. Both as they walked through the prison gate, they posed for a photograph alongside a Catalan independence flag and a banner reading "Freedom for Catalan." In other words, the prison sentences and the pardon did not extinguish their belief in independence for Catalonia. What's more, the Spanish government did not ask them to abandon their beliefs. Rather, the Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez said that his government decided to pardon these separatists to draw a line under past confrontations and open the way for talks. That's precisely what should happen in Nigeria. Any political solution to Nigeria's separatism problem cannot just be about Kanu and Igboho. Rather, it must open the way for dialogue, negotiation, and agreement to tackle the root causes of the separatist impulses. Truth is, separatism in Nigeria is not without a cause. It's rooted in a deep-seated sense of injustice and fear of ethnic domination caused by Nigeria's structural imbalance, as well as President Buhari's mishandling of Nigeria's diversity. Yes, recently in a BBC interview, Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State asked, why don't we have a service chief from the southeast? When Araisibi asked President Buhari that question earlier this year, Buhari responded condescendingly, yes, you can't just pick people to balance out. The positions have to be earned, implying that no Igbo in the military deserves the topmost position. Such insensitivity breeds resentment and furthers separatist tendencies. So, political solution to separatist agitations in Nigeria must not stop at freeing Kanu and Igboho. It must also tackle the underlying causes of separatism at the core of that solution. And it is the restructuring of Nigeria, undermining and underpinned by the principles of equity, fairness, and justice. Yes, what this simply means is that even if Igboho and Nnamdi Kanu is going to be released, yes, they should, go under the process of separatism, or rather, citing Catalonia as an example. But notwithstanding, Sunday Igboho and Nnamdi Kanu should be released unconditionally.